All right, welcome to Astrology Study Groups Weekly Transit Report. Astro Breze Weekly Transits. This will be for the beginning of December, the 5th through the 11th. Before I flip over to that, I want to just share one thing. We are going to have the new moon at 16 degrees Gemini, and I wanted to just show you this, and then we'll come back to it later. But this is really interesting, and we'll talk about Sabian symbols some more, but I wanted to point out that it's basically it's a meaning of every degree of the zodiac. Okay, there we go. So Mark Edmund Jones, he says, we're going to look at this Gemini 16 degrees full moon. Full moon is going to be at 16 Gemini. And it means a woman suffrage haranguing. This is the symbol of the soul's demand for full participation in the responsibilities of human society and of the realization of the values of life are maintained only as there is a mutual give and take in respect to every difference and point of view. All right. Indignation. I like this next one better. So Dane Rudyard talks about it. A woman activist in an emotional speech dramatizing her cause. So they're going to give you kind of, again, like a little meaning of it, but I think this is pretty interesting. What has been discovered not only needs to be discussed and tested through an intellectual exchange, which permits its formulation, it also demands exteriorization. This implies the act of dealing with those who are still unaware of the new knowledge or realization. A public is needed, and it has to be convinced. Its inertial resistance to change has to be overcome. This usually requires an emotional dramatization, I can't say the word, of issues at stake. Here again, as at the very start of the cycle, like the first of Aries, a woman is depicted, which means a person depending upon feelings and fiery images to sway the receptive public. This is the first stage of this cyclic process. Hang with me here for a minute. The mind is called upon to perform its work, but what comes first is the action of the mind, which is violently moved, at which attempts to move by other minds by violent means, the proselytizing mind. All right. Let's just stop at this one. So we'll come back to this a little bit more when we get totally into the transits, but the full moon of the month is, the full moon is a completion cycle. The new moon is a beginning cycle. And this is the last one of 2022. So we have been through a lot this last few years. I mean, we know, at 2019, when we had, those, right into 2019, 2020, right when we had those, God, I can't even think of it now. All that stuff started to move, that we had that triple conjunction there in Saturn, and then we had it in Uranus and Aquarius, and all that stuff started to move, and then we've had these squares, blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about it. But we've had all these things that were just like ping, ping, ping. And we know that we've just had a bunch of crap for the last, all of 20, all of 21, and like 22 here, almost 3 years. We have been, as aware, enlightened beings, been really seeking justice, been really seeing through the blindfold, been pulling back, like in the Wizard of Oz, we've been, Toto pulled that curtain back, and we're all looking in and seeing that the great and powerful Oz is just, a little slimy globalist, with his hands on the machine trying to fool people. And, people are waking up to that. And part of this, and that's why I want to start out today's transits, is this is the highlight of the week, and I think the highlight kind of the month, of the year. We're coming into a closing, of the cycle, and I think, how do I want to say it? It seems like, and then especially when we get into the astrology of what's coming in 2023, but we are starting to see the results for our efforts. And and this here, this is still like, but this degree is like saying an emotional, it's like somebody's like, can't you see what's going on? What we've been through, all of this stuff with the vax, all of this stuff is just wrong. It's like this is this dramatic cause. And we're finally going to start seeing some retribution. We're going to start to finally see some of these people responsible get prosecuted for these wrongs. This stuff is going to start to come around. So I just wanted to mention this degree because it's an important one, because we're going to see now events are going to start to change nicely. Nicely. It's still not fast enough. We've been putting up with this crap for way too long. Those of us that are aware are just itchy to have this stuff go away. But it's still going to require a lot more people waking up. I mean, it's amazing. All right. So that being said, let's go over to, I want to go over to the chart. And that way you can just see it better. Okay, let's go back. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm going to have to redo this for you. Let me go back here one day. Bear with me. Let's get about, all right, that's fine. Okay, you should see the animated page now. All right, starts on December 5th. We're just going to start on that day. And what we've got, and I'd like to come in, it's always a day behind, but I like to give you a day, catch up running, because it's sort of, you forget where we're at. I do. So what we got here, the biggest thing, again, when you start looking at charts and what do we got going on, look for numbers, look for, and we're going to make the easy ones. We're not going to do like these semi squares and all. We're going to just do major aspects. So we're going to see numbers and then try to see how far things are apart. Now we see Mercury at 28, almost 29 degrees, Sag. We know it's just about on its way out. And then we see here Jupiter at 29. Actually, if I go back, maybe, let's see if I go back an hour or so. I want to give it to you there. Yep. Okay. There we go. You can see it this way. Let's see. Well, it's a little closer. Okay. Anyway, I thought I can line it up. But anyway, we have these like within 1 degree apart, and then, Mercury moves so fast, that it's just in just like a few hours here. Let me see if I go forward and give it to you where you can actually see it. And it's still Monday. Come on, Mercury. You're still on yet? This is kind of fun. There we go. Almost there. There. And it's just when it is Tuesday. It just depends on where you are on the planet. Look at 1:30 in the morning. It finally there. But anyway, let's go back to the right day. But I just wanted to show you the degrees. So anyway, we have Mercury right over here. And then we've got the exact here to the square to Jupiter. So why is it square? If you think of the element, think of the quality. This is a mutable sign, and this is a mutable sign. Mutable will be square. Cardinal, square. Of course, if they're at the 90 degrees. But anyway, here it is. I just wanted you to see it. And it's just, don't mind the date because it'll be the next one. But I just wanted you to see the number here. If you know a West Coast, it would be different. Okay, so we've got the square here. So what does that mean? So we've got Mercury. I feel that it highlights the need to make conscious choices between what you're dreaming of, what you're thinking of in your head, and what's really practical. We've got that still, it's squaring that Piscean Jupiter high in the sky, but then we've got Mercury, and it wants to do something practical with it. New facts may come to light that question previous understandings. You might get some more information about something here. This mercurial transit happens fast. And this is interesting. It occurs twice per year, but every 6 or 7 years, Mercury will make a series of 3 squares, with the middle one occurring during the retrograde. You can see the big picture, but the downside is that you may lose sight of the details. All right. Mercury's right here. Okay, so it's making the square to Jupiter. Now, I don't want to go forward through all this, but we'll see it next month. Mercury is going to go retrograde. It's going to, it's going to move. Well, here, let's go the next day. Boop. So Mercury. All right, well, I'll get there. So Mercury will move into Capricorn, and then it will retrograde. Okay, and then by that time, it will then start to go forward, and then Jupiter will go into Aries. So then it's going to have a square again, but they'll be in different signs. But we'll get there. But this is going to be, the first one. So this aspect is going to come back again. So take heed. This again, it's like it was yesterday, but this is going to occur, and it's still, just because it happened, it's still in the happenings, and this is going to rake back, back and forth a little bit. So important to keep, get the insights, get the big picture, but don't overlook the little details. And that's the downside sometimes of getting the big picture. You get the big picture and you can't see. It's like an eagle view. You're seeing the whole big thing, but you can't see the little conversation that's going on, or what color shirt they wearing down there. So keep that in mind. Get the big picture, but then let the detail kind of, energy, be aware of getting the details. Okay, that's what I want to say. All right, then today, we're looking at, let me go here. This is at 3 a.m. Let's go a little more. I was trying to get it around noon. All right, where's Mercury? There. There we go. One more. There. And it's just like about right now. Look at there. And let me just go back to my days. Okay. So right around now, it's like 5:30, and I put this 5:25. Ha ha ha. Cool. I love this program. But here we go. We've got Mercury 0 degrees. It's just moving into Capricorn. So what does that mean? Now the mind is going to settle down. Now the mind is going to get practical and focused and fixed a little bit and steady. It's kind of been like yeehaw with the Sagittarius, but now it's going to be a little bit more down to earth. Your ideas are going to be a little more realistic. Communication becomes more clear. Also, say what you mean and mean what you say. And watch getting too serious or rigid. Right now, it's kind of right at that transition zone, but as we move on into the month, watch that. This transit through Capricorn means living up to responsibilities and choices made. Our thinking becomes more methodical, grounded, and practical. No abstract concepts or complex fantasies. We're dealing with the nuts and bolts and how to get from point A to point B quickly, efficiently, and painlessly. So Mercury's there first, and Mercury's leading the pack. I would say it's we're looping back around, coming back over to bother Pluto again. So that's going to happen, we get near the end of the sign, but here Mercury's charging ahead. Okay. That's a big one for today. But now we start preparing for our full moon. And we got Venus approaching the end of the sign. And look at this. Look how close. Like tomorrow at 5, I think it's 11. I think I put on the thing. I'll post the time. Yeah, it's 11:06 Eastern time. But here at 5:30 tomorrow, the sun, this is cool because the sun is at 15, but it just clicks into 16 in like you see, like what, 5.5 hours. It'll go into the next degree. It'll go at 16 degrees. I think it's 2 minutes or whatever. But look at here, the moon is conjuncting Mars, and then both of those are going to be opposing the sun. So this is an interesting full moon because we've got there's always the sun moon opposition, but now moon is over there by Mars. So emotions and drive and energy, feeling and aggression or drive. So we've got quite the mix of this. You could be I would say watch your words or watch your emotions or make sure that your emotions don't get heated up and you just say something without thinking. If you feel like that or somebody pisses you off or steps on your toes, take a deep breath, maybe count to 5. Take a good deep breath. Is it worth it? Okay, that's just going to be the big thing. So prepare for this full moon as it syncs up with Mars, the planet of action, which will inspire you. It'll inspire you to get shit done. It'll help you to get things happening in your life. Also, you could get easily annoyed or frustrated or impatient if events don't flow as fast as you want. um, Perfect to remember to take a deep inhalation and powerful exhalations. Again, that, in through the nose, out through the mouth. This is also the time to clear out old accumulations of crap and clutter as the moon increases to fullness. I don't know if I've been feeling that for days, the last few days, just clearing stuff out and just being real busy, getting that Sagittarian sun, and then Mars and Gemini, galloping around, gathering things, moving them around, throwing them away, going through stuff, getting ready. Okay, so that's a powerful one. We've got this powerful combination coming on. And I just want to show you, there we go. Watch as we get closer to, I think it's like 11, what did I say, 11 something? Okay, sun at 10:30 here, sun just moves into 16 degrees. And then the moon is almost there. Watch, look at 16 at 11:25. Look at there. Perfect. Lines up right there with Mars, with the moon, with the sun. It should be a pretty one wherever it's clear enough tomorrow to see it, or to see the moonrise. It should be nice. All right, so here's that. So keep that in mind. All right, now. All right, so the next day, I want to go back a little bit, and actually, I'm going to go forward. And I'll go back a little bit in a few hours of time. So it's not just, I want to get it more in the middle of the day for you. Okay. Okay, so now coming in on Thursday, it's kind of I'd say a full moon hangover. It's just really time to, nothing really has changed too much here. It's time to simulate what happened. The moon maybe, is going to be trining Saturn as it moves through its, the end of that mutable area, because Saturn is over at 20 degrees Aquarius. So the moon, would hit it at 20 degrees Gemini. So we have that little bit. It could make some sobering truths come to light. It could help putting boundaries or lines drawn. Maybe having a new way to create some kind of new action. What else I say that? It's kind of saying maybe finally after the full, it's like you got the full moon before and then the full moon after. Sometimes after you say something and you draw your line, you realize, whoa, I did it. It's not going to be the same now. That's kind of how it is going to be on Thursday for a lot of you that, things are hitting. Not, of course, not everybody, but those of you that have some of the sensitive degrees, that'll definitely be kind of a very sobering day. That's all I can really say about Thursday. All right, Friday, we got as we hear Venus, we got a couple of things happening. Venus is now squaring Jupiter because it's at 29 degrees. And this is that, you remember the critical degree, 29 degrees is a critical degree. It's at the very end. It's so far at the end, it's just doesn't want to be at the end anymore, wants to be the beginning of the next. That's what creates this weird tension. So with Jupiter there, and things clicking on past that, it's got to do that little before it goes to the next sign. And that's what we got. Venus here, kind of, squaring there. So it's kind of a nice one, though. And then with Venus squaring Jupiter, you got the two benefics, but it creates expansive change, and it's most likely stemming from your relationships. This brings new opportunities for expansion where there are new possibilities and new opportunities. So that's the Jupiter part. and then it's still in that dreamy Pisces, and then it's got that little tension, and you got that Venus and the optimistic Sag. So it's like, well, if you want to do this, this is how we got to do it, honey. Okay, dear. So basically, that's the little square we got going on, before it changes, before it then goes into, it joins Mercury into Capricorn the next day, on Saturday. So then we see here, now we've got another sobering moment. So Venus enters Capricorn on the weekend. So I'm going to say Saturday and Sunday is kind of mainly this happening. Venus entering Capricorn. So now we have deepens the focus on practical things, on practicality in any partnership. It's in practical in business, practical with money matters, practical with values. This could be very good for this season. It's like, nope, I'm not going to get you the blah 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 blah. I'm not going to get you the pink dyed headband with the frilly circles and dragon curls on it. I'm going to get you a pair of white socks. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it will be more realistic and necessary things. So with both Mercury and Venus in practical Capricorn, use this energy to get more organized thinking into your projects. So we still got, Mercury a little bit ahead of there, and it's going to add that practicality to your values. It's going to give you the ability to budget, to have some business sense, to have a little bit of awareness of practical boundaries with relationships. It just depends on what Venus is indicating in your chart, whether it's money matters, business, your work, your love, your relationships, whatever is value to you. But it's going to be getting this, now we get this whole our Capricorn season. So these guys are going to start to ride into that area together. Okay, this is about, let me just look at Sunday, because it's kind of about the same. Nothing really happens. Oh yeah, well, we already said Pluto changes degrees. It does. It goes, you probably see it there. It went from the late 26 or, into 27. So it's getting near the end of the sign. And then it will then soon start to make a, sextile with Jupiter. What else was I going to say? Oh, with that degree on the full moon, this is just the beginning now of things really starting to come out. And there's a lot more information, Mercury, coming out. It's part of that square is that practicality. And, the information's coming out. There's more whistleblowers telling the truth. There's more lawsuits being, walked through, being, brought up, things being coming to justice. I think it's just a short matter of time before we start seeing this. When we come into 2023, there's going to be a lot more of this happening, and it's just the start of it. And I want you to remember this last full moon wrapping up this year, at this degree, because this might kick off this, again, the woman proselytizing her situation, right? This is what we're going to see, I think, with, we're starting to see it now. But there was the big controversial Ye on Alex Jones show that went crazy. He basically was saying some controversial things, but Alex gave him a platform to just speak. And then he tried to help him through some of the spots where he didn't have things right. But one thing that was interesting, he was remarking about, whatever he was saying, some of the things weren't really pleasant, but that it's not okay for him to say that, but it's okay for all these other things. He was pointing out the huge double standard. Also, what is it? Eco Alliance just came out. He was a CEO, coming out with as a whistleblower, some pretty damning evidence, with some bad stuff that was going on with the whole vaccine program. Just a whole bunch of the stuff is bubbling out. And this is, again, what we're seeing with this Mercury, energy. Anyway, have a good week. Put this stuff in, and I want to put this up and let you see this. Is this the one that I want? Right here. Here we go, real quick. I will post this so you all can see it. But this is basically what we've got coming on this week. Remember, we've got everything coming into Capricorn season now. We're starting with Mercury, we're going with Venus, and then in about 2 weeks, we'll have the sun there. So take this energy as we're moving forward, get this exhilaration of everything that we have now and put it into some practical measures before the end of this month, before the end of this year. This is kind of how everything is just gearing and moving. You're moving this big ship around. All right, we'll see you all next time. Bye for now.